Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the United Star. And we have a fan debate lined up for y'all. We've got Mihir and Brian from Manchester United, Arsenal, and we are going to debate the combined 11, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Mikel Arteta, and then let's see if we get to it, which is the bigger club in England, because I don't see where that can be debated anyway. So let's get straight into it. Brian, let me come with you. Let's start with the combined 11. Who would you put in goal?
So if I had to start with a combined 11, I actually start with Leno in goal. And I would, looking at the certain form, like looking at how Manchester United has been playing and how Arsenal has been playing, we know that Arsenal actually has the second best defense in the league currently. So I don't think so there'll be any place where you will be like, but we can put another player out there. So even if we put like the Arsenal centre backs, it could be Mari or Holding or Gabriel. Or if you want to put Luis, we can remove him out. But either way, I think so. The first three players which will come into my 11 would be them, both like Mari and Gabriel, but they're not played together. So I'll put Gabriel and Holding at the right
Wait,
back.
Brian. Let's just go one. You say you've put
Yeah,
Leno
one.
in goal,
Okay.
right?
Yes, Leno and goal. Yes.
Yeah. So Mihir, do you agree with that? I mean, before I go to Vishesh, do you agree that Leno should be in goal? Because I mean, quite famously, David De Gea. I mean, you all should be knowing how good he is. You'll have a tendency. He has a tendency to show up against y'all.
Yes, he does. But then I'd just like to correct your statement. How good he is, how good he was. At current form, I don't think you can pick him over Leno. What we've seen in this season, I guess Leno is a clear-cut choice.
So me here, I'd like to argue that David De Gea has put in some great performances since he's been back. I think he's been since this season. He's been man of the match. I think in 4 or 5 games for Manchester United. On the other hand, when the season started, many Arsenal fans were ruining the fact that Martinez had left and Leno was yet there, and they would rather have had Martinez playing first choice. So I think sort of a recency bias there, saying that this entire season Leno has been better. Possibly he's been better. He's improved his performances, but I don't think he's been that much better than De Gea as sort of it might seem. Vishesh, what do you think?
I agree with Brian when it comes to the fact that they've been defensively sound and they haven't conceded that many goals and are second or whatever number, but they are at the higher number when it comes to not conceding goals. But that argument I could accept for a centre back. When it comes to the goalkeeper, I think Mihir is completely right when he said De Gea was, but I think De Gea is coming back to what he was. We cannot blame all United goals on him. We've seen how sloppy the defense has been at United, and De Gea has improved massively in his ball distribution as well. So I think I would stick for De Gea on this one. Maybe I could give Brian a centre back, but I cannot agree to Leno for this one. So I think we're split on this.
Yeah, I think
Well,
there's
I
a
can
two.
counter on it with the goals that we've conceded.
Mm-hmm.
We are second best, but the goals that we've conceded, the own goals or the defensive mistakes, I guess if you take them out, we'll probably be first or level with City in terms of conceding. So I don't blame Leno
To
for
be
those.
honest, this is the wrong position to start with because I think this is the only position that we'll probably be fighting on for the rest of the video because Leno is a good keeper. It's not like he's
No, but
not bad.
also the other thing I want to bring in here is that De Gea has managed to keep clean sheets against City, Chelsea, and Liverpool just recently. So he has managed to keep clean sheets against the top teams as well. So I feel that he's genuinely getting back to his level, and I think I can't personally agree that Leno would get into the team ahead of him because I've seen almost all Arsenal games, and I mean I don't think you can say apart from the last month and a half you can say as an Arsenal fan you're assured of having Leno apart from the last month and a half because the season the way he started was very rocky. Brian, what do you think?
Um, no, I mean, to be fair, the whole Martinez Leno debate was a thing in the club because it was simply because the fact of one is a homegrown player, the other one was bought. So that topic ended when Martinez left, he left. That was it. For many of us, that was the end. That was only the beginning. And then afterwards, obviously, the fans will have a comparison. Oh, he left, we should have kept him. But as a matter of fact, like the club told, like, no, Leno is a number one. And there's a reason because after he came back from his injury, he has literally been like literally very good as a goalkeeper. Like literally the saves he's made are mind-boggling. Like even the recent match against Southampton, it was a header to the far post. He goes and he saves it, and you're just like, what is happening? And the thing about Leno is, if you even want to take this season and the last season, the only time where Martinez actually shined for us was when Leno was injured, and that opportunity was good. And let's be fair, that guy is a good goalkeeper. And De Gea, I remember De Gea is De Gea. Like, let me just put it out there. I'm a huge fan of De Gea. He was the first guy I remember, the goalkeeper who had like the what do you call in FIFA, the saves by feet rate, the one where you like your legs are out. And I remember that match. I remember that match where like shots were going, and this guy's like with the leg and everything. But in current form, to be fair, many I would say simply Leno, as I feel Daya has had that small mishaps which have happened. We all know that he is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. But the thing is, in this season, I would honestly say Daya has been saving y'all many of the times, and same for us for Leno. But the thing about Leno is he's got more saves under his hand, so that's why I would actually go
Right.
for Leno. But I get it
Okay.
if you want to say Daya.
Right. So I think it's I don't think either of us are budging on this. So we'll just put De Gea slash Leno on this one because I don't think we're going to be able to settle this. I don't think I understand Leno has been very good, but I think De Gea has been slightly better, and you think the other way. So we'll just settle on sort of a halfway there. So before we get to the centre backs, can we agree that Van Bissaka goes in at right back?
Now that depends on the formation.
No. So
Yeah.
we're playing a 4-2-3-1. I
4 to
think
3 1. Okay.
yeah.
So, but then my only question about Wan-Bissaka at right back is the crossing, because you're 4-2-3-1. You want a fullback who can cross and play attacking. And I know Wan-Bissaka is a perfectly good right back in the defensive sense. So if you're taking like it goes because Wan-Bissaka's main importance is the defensive side of things. And let's just put he's one of the best right backs in the league currently in the defensive sense. But as an attacking sense, Bellerin actually has a lot more assists, so he contributes to the team in a creative manner as well. So I mean, I think since
Brian, just to come in here, I agree with you that Bellerin has a lot more assists. But if Bellerin is on right back, I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night thinking that I'm going to concede a goal. He's probably somewhere up there and he's left his position. Someone's running behind him.
Rasham,
so that
Bellerin, I was a huge fan of Bellerin. I wanted Bellerin at the club, to be honest. But my point is, I think when you guys hit your lowest this season, like with that consecutive run of not winning anything, the players that stood out and were the main culprits were Holding and Bellerin because of their positioning and their way of playing. So the recent rise in form of Arsenal is causing Bellerin to shine out all of a sudden, which is understandable and acceptable. He may be giving in the assists, but I think, again, as Brian said, and credit due where it needs to be given, Bellerin is a great crosser of the ball. But at the same time, we need someone defensively to manage to get the tackles and stay in position, and that's where Aaron Wan-Bissaka comes in.
Mir, why
That's
don't you
my
come in
take on
here?
it.
I just like to continue with my previous argument. Strictly on current form, I would say okay, you can pick Van Bissaka over Bellerin.
Right. So
Strictly
Brian,
on current form.
3-1. I think you've made a fair case. I think you've made as good a case that could be made for Bellerin. I don't
yeah.
think.
No,
I don't
the
think.
thing is, I love Bellerin as a player, so he's like one of my favorite players. But I get it, obviously, talent over
Because he's one of those guys who plays his heart out. So
Yeah.
I would give him that. But from an overall point of view, defensively, and given the current 4-2-1, 4-2-3-1, let's stick to. I'll give you that Van Bissaka.
Right. So Mihir, let me then ask you: are you going to fight Luke Shaw and Tierney? Because on current form, Luke Shaw is off the charts.
Uh, no.
Brian, I'll let you come and let Mihir have a say.
Tierney is miles ahead. I've
Hmm.
seen Luke Shaw, a month or two, but what Tierney brings to the game, I don't think Luke Shaw would bring. So
Hmm.
it's,
So
it's
what is
Tierney.
it that he brings to the game, Mihir?
He's good defensively. He's good attacking. He has good positional sense. His pace is good, and like the overall package, what we were discussing, like it's not just attack or not just defense, but the balance between them. I guess Tierney is someone we can pick over
Okay.
Shaw.
Vishesh, what about you? Do you agree to that? Do you think Shaw has shown enough to have a shout over Tierney this season? Because Shaw has been quite fantastic in both defensive and offensive capacity, especially this season. We wouldn't. I mean, I'm personally to clarify to both of y'all. I didn't rate Shaw, but I've been sort of forced to rate him now. So Vishesh, what do you think?
Personally, you know me, Prasham, and you know how much I've said stick with Shaw, and he will come good eventually. But again, talking from an Arsenal perspective, I think Tierney has probably been one of their best players this season.
Yes.
That cannot be argued. But at the same time, Luke Shaw has improved miles and bounds. I'm pretty sure if Mahir and Brian see a United game, they would be impressed,
I have.
especially the way he did against Liverpool and Salah. It was like it was a class performance. So again, putting in that argument that Tyranny is defensively and attackingly well sound. I would have accepted him if Luke Shaw would have stopped making those outward runs on Rashford's flank or on Martial's flank. But since that has evolved in the game of Luke Shaw, I just cannot see a side without Luke Shaw. Even if you make me pick a combined 11 with the likes of City or with the likes of Liverpool, I would still argue for Luke Shaw. Even though, they have the likes of Trent and Cancelo, I think Luke Shaw has to go on current form. If you talk about career-wise, Tyranny over Luke Shaw because Luke Shaw hasn't had the best of careers at United. But
That's
if
still a
you
big timeline we're discussing career-wise, but current form plus consistency. I guess Tierney is the one.
Brian, you have been waiting to get in
Yeah,
on
so
this.
my simple thing is that as we talk about current form, the one thing about we as Arsenal fans, we know as a matter of fact that Tierney has been the player since the beginning of the season. He's been consistently good. There
Yes.
has been never a game where he's been bad. So even if we have to talk, and I get Luke Shaw, he's also a really good player. One of the players I don't understand why they're like a full agenda against him. But this season, what have I seen? And the thing about Tierney is he's positionally very aware. He can even play a three at the back and a five at the back as a centre back and a left back. So because of him, the defensive structure is more fluid. And he gives that to the manager. And that's simply why I would say in this situation, I've seen Luke Shaw play at left centre back, and I think so he's not still comfortable with that. But as you're talking about left back position over here, I would still say Tierney simply because of the consistency. The season has been spot on. That's
I
all.
think
There's
I
been
think
no
I
but.
think Prasham we can give them Tyranny. I think
Okay.
I think
I personally think again Shaw has had a better season than Tierney, and I would
I
stick to
agree. I
Shaw.
agree.
But okay, if I will give you Tierney on the left. Let's move.
I
So
think I
let's
think
move
it's
on.
not a bad player to have there. I think it's a good argument that we're having, but we've already split on Leno and De Gea, so let them take this one. We'll have ours maybe later.
Yeah, yeah. So the centre backs. Let me propose a pairing. I think Harry Maguire after the Spurs game. I think he goes into the team without debate. I think he's been quite brilliant after the Spurs game. Would you agree to that? That Maguire goes into this team directly. He's got two goals and one goal that was legitimate but ruled out because only City seemed to be
Again,
getting
Prashant,
decisions.
I
So
think Harry Maguire goes depending on who you're pairing him with. So
that's
Exactly.
the whole point.
you
That is
would
Yes,
exactly the whole point.
player
Because what
pairing that we're going in with.
Yeah, because
Okay.
what I've seen in Manchester United, the pairing which works very well is Bay and Maguire. I got his Harry. Let's call him Harry. I can't pronounce his name right now. So Harry and Bay works very well. When it's Lindelof and Maguire, then there's a problem which is there because they both Maguire is good with
Brian,
someone who
let
yeah
me comment on this. Agreed with you. Again, it depends on the game because last season United had the best defensive unit
yeah
in all of Europe, and we only played Maguire and Lindelof. So while I
yeah
agree that Bailly and Maguire have looked good together recently, it depends on who we're playing, and that's the reason I'm saying it depends who we're partnering him with.
So
Me
that's the reason,
personally,
Vishesh. That's the reason, Vishesh, why I said it doesn't matter who plays. Maguire goes in because be it Lindelof or Bai, he's been very good. He's been very consistent, and he just gets a lot of shit because of the way he looks and the way he behaves. That's the only reason why he gets a lot of shit. It's not his fault he went for 80 million. But what my point is that also Lindelof played against Liverpool, and we absolutely shut them out there as well. So that's why I feel Maguire out there in terms of ball distribution, only David Luiz is better than him. But if you argue David Luiz in this team, we end this video right now. I think David Luiz will give away a penalty on demand. But I think Maguire, that's why goes into this team for sure. Mihir, what do you think?
I guess David Luiz gives away a penalty, but Maguire gives away a sure goal or an own goal.
Ooh,
That's
But then,
I,
but
debatable. I
then
think.
the same debate applies that, you know what I would say, your David Luiz is our Eric Bailly. Our Eric Bailly is a
Yeah,
walking red card. So, but at the
yeah.
same time, he'll put his body on the line, or he will ensure that the ball doesn't go in the goal. But I wouldn't risk playing a red card in the side. That's my take on it.
Definitely, definitely. I guess okay, Maguire is a good, but then it depends on the pairing, and
so my pairing would be Maguire and Gabriel.
so that is again two ball playing centre backs, and it's something that is fluid, but defensively I won't go for Gabriel and Maguire. So
So whom would you pair
I
with Maguire then?
I'd rather go for Gabriel as the ball playing centre back, not Maguire.
And then who's your second centre back?
Uh, you can make a case for Lindelof, but I'd still pick Holding over him because
Holding.
yes,
I think Holding's been pretty horrible. Uh,
I think
I
I
No,
I, I
okay.
don't.
Just because that one clip where he was acting like a boxer, everybody's been saying he's a bad player. That was one game. We left that game. Aston Villa went away. That is fine. That game got over. That was just a small blip because there was a lot of issues because there was something else which happened. But the point is that guy Holding has been spot on this season. Like he has tried to make sure he's been there. There have been clearances and passes and the thing about what I have about Maguire is there have been many chances we have seen that he is positionally not aware about what's happening around him. For example, I will just give an example. I know this was before the red card, but this is the game of Manchester United versus Spurs, where
Yeah, that's
he
what I'm saying.
tackled.
So the way you take this, the way you take the Villa game away, you take the Spurs game away. The Spurs game is a blip. Since the Spurs game, and just one thing, Mihir, I want to say that Harry Maguire is a better defender than Victor Lindelof any day of the week. There's no question about it in my mind. Harry Maguire might be a ball playing centre half, but he's a better So if you have to play Gabriel and Maguire, I don't see the problem because in my view, defensively, those two are the best players. I think Rob Holding is not even in the same league defensively as Harry Maguire, be it on form or be it on the character of the player.
I would bring in positional sense here. I don't think Maguire has that in him. We've seen him being caught out. So
no.
it's
I
I
mean,
know you're making the case for Holding, but it's not just Holding. He had to cover up for the midfielders. The system that we were playing in when the league started, uh, the, we wouldn't make a case defensively because the centre backs were exposed, and Holding isn't the one who has a lot of pace in him.
But
So
that's the case
but
I
that
can make for
that's my
Maguire as
question.
well.
Roshan, let me come in here.
Yeah,
If,
Vishesh, come
if
on.
we have to compare the likes of, let's have we agreed on one centre back, like the one Arsenal centre back? Everyone agrees with that, right?
See, but then I agree with Gabriel being there, but
Yeah.
then Maguire has two people to put off. That is Mari and Holding, because
I
Mari has been spot on as well when Gabriel had his COVID
I
season
I
and
agree with you. I agree with you, Brian. I mean, your point completely justified, but that's where again, when we're talking from a United perspective, we've left out like Lindelof completely, even though credit needs to be given, and Prasham gave him that one line of credit for Liverpool. Completely agreed. But we're looking at that one player, and I was just going through some basic stats when it comes to Rob Holding and Harry Maguire. The positioning sense, Mihir, you're kind of right. Against Spurs, he was completely off position. But other than that, if you look at him, he's a captain, so he comes in with that mentality. We have to give him that. Two, he is a player with way better ball distribution. I think he's one of the best ball distribution players in the center back position at the moment in the league, and he is good when it comes to heading the ball. I don't think Holding's the best header when it comes to corners and set pieces. So personally, I think that's where Maguire fits in, and it'll be a great combination because irrespective of what you put, whether you put Holding or Maguire, you're not going to have the pace to cover up. If we want pace, then that becomes a full different debate, and then I put in Bai into the picture, and I don't see Bai actually being a part of this combined 11 anymore.
I think Vishesh has given a lot more credit to Rob Holding than Rob Holding deserves. I mean, Rob Holding is an apps. I don't rate Rob Holding at all. He is a pub class defender. if Arteta had his way, Rob Holding would not be starting in this team. And I don't think you can. I mean, if he
I
had
think
a
so you're wrong on that because actually Holding was going to leave on loan to Newcastle and he didn't go because Arteta stopped
no,
him.
but Brian, that's what I'm saying. There are no other options. So you have, if he had a better, if
No,
he had
we
even a
have
half decent centre back,
I mean, to
if
be
he
fair,
had
we
even
have
a half decent,
Socrates.
Socrates is past it, man. Socrates. If you're going to bring up Socrates, I'm going to have to bring up Phil Jones.
That was a joke. That was a joke. He was not even
that's it.
officially
So that's what I'm
20
saying.
miles.
We should bring in Phil Jones then. I think then it's
Exactly.
settled.
Yeah.
we have our own Phil Jones.
Centre back of Socrates and Phil Jones. That's what we're settling on.
So I think it's more or less settled. I think Harry Maguire is. I think he's the best defender out of Arsenal and Man United. I don't see positionally, I don't see that much of a problem with this guy. He's given a lot of shit because he went for 80 million pounds. It's not his fault that he went for 80 million pounds. Leicester asked for that price, United paid it. It's not his fault. If you take that price tag away, if you look at what Harry Maguire does, you almost 80 million ke liye gaya, so he should be doing that. But that's not the point. Other defenders in our team,
consideration the 80 million thing. So we have players who've gone for a bit same, but I'm keeping aside the price tag. I still feel he's a bit off when it comes. It's more like you should have that system to play in. If you play Gabriel and Maguire both together, that could expose.
I think it works. I think Gabriel and Maguire are the two best defenders in both the teams, and they're the best ball players.
If you're talking about
the
formation and hold thingy, if you play Gabriel and Holding, it's the same. It's not going to make a difference because Holding doesn't have a pace advantage over Maguire that you can put an argument about.
So Vishesh, I'm going to settle this here. I think Gabriel and Maguire are the two best defenders in my view in both the teams. I don't care if they both are ball playing. I'm just going to pick both of them because they both know how to defend. Whereas every other defender, including Holding or Bailly or David Luiz, are a walking red card. And Holding, the receding hairline is the only thing remarkable about that guy in my view. But let's move to the midfield. The two double pivots, sort of the 4-2 and the central attacking midfielder, right?
Yeah.
So those three players. I'm going to suggest three players. I don't see much debate there. So let me know. Partey, Pogba, and Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, that's fine. That's actually, I think, so, like on target.
Wait, sorry.
You're playing.
If we're gonna have a Bruno debate, I'm leaving.
No. Bruno's the only cam over there. If I was confident, the cam is Bruno.
Partey and Pogba behind. I don't think there's much of a debate there.
Yeah,
because I'm not hearing anything about Granit Xhaka or Dani Ceballos. I don't want people spinning around.
No, I mean that tendency of his is still gone. But see, I would say one thing is that would be like one of like the best defense. I think so. That is what I want. Being honest, as a Manchester United fan, if y'all were there, y'all would have said y'all would want Partey in your team because he was like the missing component.
Brian,
midfield,
the game against Arsenal where y'all won 1-0 on our group chat, the only message I was sending is why did we not go for this guy and sign him up?
Because
Partey is an absolute. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't think there's any debate. I don't think we are going to say Partey doesn't get in. I'm not going to try to make a case for Fred, Matic, or McTominay because Partey is a far superior player. And I mean, there is nobody in Arsenal who's better than Bruno or Pogba in those positions or in any positions. I think Bruno and Pogba are probably the best players out of the two teams anyway. So that's settled.
Wait, Prasham, before we move ahead, I just want to ask you all, what position do you guys see Saka in, so that I understand whether...
wherever. Saka can wherever you just put him in the team.
Yes, the thing about Saka is he's so versatile. He has played at the cam, he's played at your left mid, right mid, left back as well.
So Brian, let me suggest this to you. Another two players where I think
right wing for Saka.
No, so I'm saying there are two players I'm suggesting where I don't think there should be an argument. Rashford on the left, Saka on the right.
Yeah, I think so. Aubameyang has not had a good start to the season, if I'm being honest, and it would be wrong of me to I don't know what's the stats between Rashford and Pepe, because Pepe is now getting it. Like Pepe is now being converted into the left winger instead of he used to play on the right, and now they're converting into a left, and he's played much better in the Southampton game, but that's only one game of improvement. So I would actually say this makes no sense because it works just fine.
See, Rashford's
Like,
got 7 goals in the Premier League. He's the top scorer in the Champions League, even though we're not there. So I think he might not have had the best season in terms of performances, but he's had the best. He's put up the numbers, and he tends to get important goals. He feeds hungry kids. I mean, come on, we're gonna argue against
no,
Rashford.
he's one of the players you look up to. Like, he's one of the people you should
Yeah.
make people look up to, because Rashford is just, as a person and what he's done, hats off. Like, he if any debate, if you go against him, I think so the world will go against you. So there's no point going against
So,
Rashford.
so
I
Mihir,
mean,
are you going
we
to are
also
you
need
going to
to.
take the risk of the world going against you?
No. I've already agreement with you. Saka and Rashford. Of course, I had very high hopes from Pepe, but not yet.
There's a side of me right now that wants to argue Saka and Greenwood, but I'm going to give you Saka.
No,
No,
I'll tell
Vishesh,
you one
please.
thing about Greenwood, because I
Mason
rate
Greenwood gets nowhere
Greenwood.
near this team.
Yeah, I rate him very high, but
Yeah,
it's not his time yet.
yeah.
And he's more of a striker, and I've seen him play, and my God, as a striker, what he did in PL2, Lord only knows how is anybody not told him, like, play ahead.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. So now that's the problem, right? The striker.
Yeah. See, I'll
uh,
just put it out there, Lacazette, simply because no goals. And he has been there, he's played as a CDM, and I mean to say it, when I say it as a CDM, I mean it. I have seen him play as a center defensive mid so that he can just build up the play. Now,
but Brian,
I know,
let me
Let's
put
not
this
rush up
statistic to
about the
you.
options.
Let me put this
I,
statistic to you. Edinson Cavani has got a goal or an assist every 83 minutes he's played in the Premier League.
but then how many
And how
games
many
has he
minutes
played?
has he played? How
That's a
many
small
minutes has he
sample
played?
size, right?
Right, but that's not his fault that he got
That
banned for whatever
I
he
mean,
got
it
banned
could
for.
see. You're talking about a player who's played the entire season, and you're talking about a guy who's just started like getting into his groove now. Now, I will tell you one thing. Like, during the time Cavani has started playing much better. Cavani, another beautiful talent, and his hair. Oof. But the thing about Cavani is he's still yet got, like, he's still now getting into the groove. We have not seen him play the entire season. And
Cavani
the
is
thing
the
about,
first choice striker because you have Martial.
yeah,
Else, he was
yeah.
being played.
And
Go on,
I'll tell
Mihir.
you one thing about Cavani. Cavani is a good player. Like, talent-wise, I would tell, like, right now, like, Cavani is any day more prolific and whatnot than Lacazette, because that guy has what he did for Napoli and what he did in PSG. Fabulous player. But right now, on this season, as a player who play for the team and who will give it all as a strike, like a complete striker, what like Martial is trying to grow into, Lacazette is already that. And this season, he's giving assists and goals, and he's playing like a beautiful false nine. So I think so. Lacazette cannot be like compared right now, because simply because Cavani has a small sample space. That's it. If he had played more, I know he'll score more. But he's not scored. He's not played more.
Vishesh, what
Frankly
do you
speaking,
think?
I'm not a big Laka fan, but
Yeah.
things have come to that I'm making a case for Laka. So I
Vishesh, what do you
still
think?
see him as the striker.
My thought process is we could talk sample space, we could take a lot of that into account. But I'm gonna go on a game by game basis, and the impact that Edison Cavani has on a United side is massive. I mean, I'm picking out a game. We can look at the other games, but that Southampton game we wouldn't have won if Edison Cavani wouldn't have come off. That movement the man has, and the amount of the way he runs back in recent games, even though he made that mistake against Liverpool, he was the first one to get the ball back after that as well. So he while you put in the argument that Lacazette has played CDM, I've seen bloody Cavani in the centre back position running and slide tackling. So we gave you guys tyranny, you give us Cavani.
See, I'll only have one thing against Cavani is simply because y'all talk about like literally Southampton game, your Southampton game and our Southampton game. Lacazette literally gave an assist to Saka. He built up the first goal was built up by him. The second goal was the last goal was his. So Lacazette is also having more of an impact now, and he's getting into his
Yep.
groove and understanding the role.
Yep.
I
Before
think
we
so.
get to Laka or Cavani, let's get to Cavani or Martial.
No, that's not a debate. That's ended. That's ended.
No,
No, the
That's
only
ended.
way that no, so Mihir, the only way that debate is possible is if we play Martial on the left and then Rashford is the striker.
No, see
But I
that's
guess
where the problem is.
different
I
brands.
think so. Martial's best position is the left mid. I mean, let's
Yeah,
be
that's what I'm saying.
honest.
So you play Martial on the left and then play Rashford as the
No,
striker.
sorry.
That's
Martial's best is right. Sorry, Martial's best is centre
no, no,
forward.
no, 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 no. His
Yeah.
position, easily his best position is back on the left, man. He doesn't know
Mm,
what to do when his back is towards the goal.
yeah, I mean that is his own thing. But when he came from Monaco, he was a striker, and then
But
like
that at
and
that point, man, he was 18 years old. When we signed
He
Valencia, he was
might
a
be
right winger. When he left, he was a right back and club captain.
back.
So, so I think the question is then. I think the question solely rests on Cavani and I think Lacazette.
Lacazette.
Lacazette obviously has had the bigger sample size, but Cavani's probably started what 6 Premier League games and he's got 4 goals in them. Uh, his movement, I mean, Cavani is a great striker, Lacazette is not. But on form, who is better? Vishesh, Cavani or Lacazette?
I'm gonna stick with Cavani for this one.
Mihir?
On form, yes, Cavani might be the better guy, but currently I still feel Laka has given, uh,
So,
like he
so
has
I
shown
think
more
I
than
think this
what
is that
Cavani had.
impasse. I think this is that impasse of Tierney and Shaw. So I think this time I think we'll go with Cavani and not an Arsenal player.
See, I'll tell you one. I'll just
Not
tell
sure
you
if
one
that
thing. I
could
would
go
select.
well.
No, I'll select. I'll even say yes to Cavani on one thing that one thing which we had to make into fact that Lacazette had to actually play in the cam position for half of the season because Smith Rowe was injured, and we didn't have any. So if you see the Arsenal before the season, like during the season started, in the attacking mid we only had Ozil and this guy, Smith Rowe, and so Ozil was anyway whatever happened. Lacazette used to literally come at to 9 and he couldn't do it. So if you're talking as a striker, it on talent, on whatever, it is this guy, Cavani for sure. But if you're talking on form and how you play for a team and how much you can give to the team, it will be Lacazette. So
This is
I
exactly
mean
it
we can
comes
give it
down
to
to
Cavani
how
this
much you
time,
can
I'm sure. But
how much you can give to the team. Oba is
yeah,
out of form, and there's this guy who's carrying, who has to carry the attacking, the scoring
Travis.
responsibility. And he's been good, not just with the striker point of view, but then he has dropped back. And you can make a case for Cavani that you've seen him at the centre back too. But this guy has played games where he's playing as the number 10. It's not just one run or two or one instance or two, but this guy had to start as number 10, and he's played and he's shown, okay, even though he's not a natural number 10, nowhere close to the number 10 spot, but then he gave whatever he had to the team. So that's the sole reason I'd pick Laka.
So
But
I think
isn't that football? Sometimes you have to play in positions that you're not used to. I
so.
mean,
I
Yeah,
think Vishesh
and
here
he
we
adapted. That's the thing. He
I think I
adapted
think
to the
I think
position.
here we've reached an impasse because you also have to consider that Cavani is this first season in the league and he's not even had a 3 or 4 run of games together because of whatever issues and whatever. Let's not get into that. He's not even had that, and yet every time he comes on the pitch, he's creating something. He's scoring a goal or he's assisting. So I think that also needs to be taken into impact consideration if we're talking about adapting to a different league, to a different system altogether. And I think for that reason, I think Cavani gets in over Lacazette for me.
I mean, this is going to again be the tie situation, which is
No,
there.
so that's what I'm saying.
I,
We gave you
I,
Tierney,
I
we
don't
gave
mind actually
Cavani, and we
Cavani.
end.
The thing is, Cavani, if we are looking at the team as a whole, Cavani would actually fit this team beautifully because there are people like
Exactly.
Bruno will literally assist the ball, and he is one of the best number 10 that are there right now. So Cavani works much better with Bruno. But if
Right.
Cavani was in Lacazette's team, like in this team, Lacazette would only have an issue of he has to now get used to it. So in this team, I agree Cavani should be there.
I guess
I
aerially
think,
Cavani
yeah.
is
Yeah,
I think his
yeah.
movement, I think his
His
movement and all of
movement is
that, I think, yeah. One
just
one player that I'm actually disappointed to leave out, and this might be controversial, but I think Emil Smith Rowe is a better player than Bukayo Saka. But we'll have that discussion at some other
that is
point.
because two different roles, Baba. One is a
No, no,
cam
no.
and the other is a
Yeah,
right
so that's
mid.
what I'm saying. So I feel on pure talent, I think Emil Smith Rowe is a better player than Bukayo Saka. I love Saka, but I think Emil
Yeah.
Smith Rowe is a great player as well.
Smith, yeah, but that's a
But
different topic in
but we
itself.
can't have that discussion because Bruno Fernandes is playing on another planet. But
Yeah,
so let me just repeat the 11 once. David De Gea, Bern Leno. Apparently, both are going to go in goal because with the Arsenal and United defense, that's what you need. Harry Maguire and Gabriel in as centre backs. Van Bissaka on the right, Tierney on the left. The midfield three, I think, it could be arguably the best midfield three in the Premier League if it was put together. Partey,
exactly.
Pogba, Bruno Fernandes. Cavani to lead the line with Rashford and Bukayo Saka on sort of the wings. Who manages the team, Vishesh? Ole Gunnar
It depends
Solskjaer or
on
Mikel Arteta?
who's captaining the team.
It doesn't matter. It's not cricket. No one cares. Vishesh, who's managing the team? Mikel
Uh, the,
Arteta, Ole
this
Gunnar
is the
Solskjaer.
debate I waited for. I mean, I don't care about combined 11, but let's see. So it
But
started with,
Vishesh, let me just clear this out. It's
yeah,
not Frank Lampard. Go ahead.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. It started with Ole, Arteta, Lampard. One's out. Ole was going to be out according to everyone. But let's break it down. So I think Arteta is a great coach. I won't take it away from him. I think he went under Pep. He learned a lot. I'm not going to argue. He's definitely the most talented out of the three when the debate started, and he's the only one who probably has trophies with him. So given that, great. But Arteta is just a good coach. He's not a good manager. There's a difference between being a good coach and being a good manager. And that's where we need to give Ole credit. So the reasons I say Ole, and then I'm more than happy to listen Arteta's case because Arteta is a good coach again. But I'm saying he's not manager worthy. Um, when it comes to management, the first thing to take into account is player management. Let's look at the Paul Pogba situation. Mino Raiola comes out, makes the statement, this player is never going to play again for Manchester United. I don't know whether Pogba then decided I want to go against my agent or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sat with Pogba and said, this is how I'm going to manage you. This is how you're going to play. Because we've all seen the new Pogba. I don't think if we were having this debate in the first match that we played, we would say Pogba would be in our combined 11. We're saying that now because of the form that he's put in and the talent that he has. That's one player. Last season, when we look at Mason Greenwood, as United fans, we were like, why isn't he playing? He's scoring so much. He was slowly put into the team. We saw the full greased drama with Harry Maguire and how that was handled. So when it comes to player management and down to those managerial duties, I think no one can beat Ole. If Arteta was a coach at United, probably helping the lads as one of the first team coaches, I would be ecstatic because I think he knows how to coach them. But if it comes to managerial duties, I don't think Ole can be, you know.
I don't agree that Arteta has not been great in terms of the managerial duties. Of course, he's
No.
still new.
Again,
Ole has had quite an experience being the first manager, whereas Arteta was always the assistant.
no,
So
again, you're talking about experience. When Ole came in, everyone was like, he worked at Molde. What is Molde like? That's nothing compared to a club like Manchester
Well,
United.
but Mihir, if you're going to bring in Molde's experience, then I have to say Oli also has more trophies than Arteta.
which
That's why
league are we talking about? Which league
no,
are we
but,
talking?
but then if you count that as
No,
experience, then
we
you have to
should.
count that as trophies as well.
I did not go to Molde. I was sticking to Cardiff.
Oh,
Thoughts on
Cardiff.
that?
Okay, well.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, if you're gonna Cardiff, look at the resume. Ole is Cardiff United. Arteta is City, Arsenal. I mean, there's a
No,
difference.
but I think we're getting into technicalities of that. But if you just look at
Arsenal.
league position, right? If what Oli came in and did, he went sort of he came in a similar situation when Arteta came in, when Mourinho left. Oli came in. He got us to the he got us to that Europa League spot. The next season, he got us to a Champions League spot. And right now, well, we're in an apparent title challenge,
I
but
am
we're at least
so
second.
sorry, but you cannot compare those two situations because the financial power that you guys have is nowhere close to what we
I mean,
have.
you do have a
No,
72
no.
million Nicola Pepe sitting
Let
on the
me let
bench,
me
don't
let
you?
me get
Yes,
in
yes,
here.
but
Let me get in here.
yeah,
Mihir agreed. 100% financial power United have. Couldn't
yes, the
agree.
players that you have, the current squad that Ole has,
Couldn't
give
agree.
that to Arteta and let's see where things stand.
Let me tell you one thing, Mihir. Everyone Manchester United got this transfer window was
Yeah,
not what Manchester United's manager wanted. We wanted the likes of Grealish and Sancho, and that's where the money had to be flexed, and that was well known. And I'm pretty sure you guys knew that as well. That
yeah.
Sancho's desperate to come to United, and Grealish is linked. United didn't flex their money there. They got Cavani.
I am not sure Grealish is that keen on United. Did
Okay,
not
that's
see
debatable.
social
That's
drama now.
that's that's debatable. I agree, but let me put it this way: Cavani was
Brian, you've been awfully. Vishesh, we've heard your case, we've heard Mihir's case. Brian, you've been awfully quiet. What do you think?
No,
No,
I'll
because
just add
see,
one more point.
Yeah, go
Uh,
ahead.
there was a run where United fans were Ole out, Ole out. Things change. Of course, I wouldn't say Ole is like, I wouldn't give much credit not just to Ole, because there's this guy Bruno Fernandes. What a player! Like, he's literally carrying the team, and it's not just footballing wise. The mentality. I mean, this guy is something else, and you can compare before Bruno United, after Bruno United. The manager was same, but then there was this player who changed things. And if you tell me that he was also not one of the guys which Ole wanted to sign, but United got them, I guess something's wrong with Ole there too. Another point, another point, the management against the top teams. Arteta has a specific system where he doesn't have the players to play his kind of football right now. We'll take another window or two to get to that, but what he's doing with the players he has, he knows where the things stand, what strength, what weakness, and to do this good with that squad, I guess that is commendable, especially against the top teams. You
Okay.
can compare the top team records
Brian,
and
you're gonna have to wait
they
because
one
now
on.
now Vishesh will want to
I'm fine
refute this.
waiting on. I'm fine waiting on this.
Let me
Go
let
ahead,
me
Vishesh.
let me let me put this.
Yeah.
A cold night in Paris Saint-Germain with players
Yeah.
such as Toanzebe, Marcus Rashford, Brandon Williams, Greenwood, down 2-0, Phil Jones in
Tahith
defense,
Chong.
Tahith Chong playing on the wing, Unite Lukaku, who doesn't have a first touch. Tell me about having a shit squad and still managing to beat one of the best sides in
No,
Europe.
Mihir, this I will tell you because the
Okay.
longest
And let's
criticism of
let's not
Oli.
talk about
No, no,
knockouts.
Mihir, just one sec. Mihir, just one
The
sec. The
last
biggest criticism of Oli last season was that he can't break small teams down, and he's great against big sides. So if you're talking about the record against big sides, you have to break it down into two parts. Firstly, he had a great record against big sides. Now he's breaking small teams down, so the media has nothing to talk about. So they go around saying, "Oh, against big teams, he's happy with a point." At the
Again,
end of the day, whatever he's happy with or not, he is in second place in the league, 1 point away from City.
no,
Well, you can say
that's not
4
the
points
point.
away
That's
from
not the
City.
point, Prasham. Again, if we're talking about the big teams, let's look at the results. It's City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs. Spurs was a, God forbid, I don't know what. Arsenal wasn't a 1-0 game. You guys have to agree. It was one of the most boring nil-nils that should have happened. City was a nil-nil. Chelsea was a nil-nil. Liverpool was a nil-nil. Out of these, I would probably go down to Arsenal and Chelsea being bad management from the manager. I agree. But the way United came out against City and Liverpool, that was tactical genius from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And when you look at the bigger picture, it worked out to be the perfect result for us. I could
Brian,
argue.
that's what I was saying, Vishesh. At the end of the day,
if,
we're on
if we're
we're
bringing the knockouts in place, last season's FA Cup. Let's talk about tactics.
yeah.
City.
So we already give due credit there that Arteta has got. Yes, he's got the smarts to win a cup game, but has he got the managerial ability to be a manager over 38 games in the Premier League? And the Özil situation, which I don't want to get into, but the Özil situation is very sort of tricky there, and Arteta completely froze him out of the squad when
Prasham,
y'all were crying out
Again,
for a
I'd
central
like to
attacking mid.
point out. So there are some things which go beyond the managers. It's not just the manager who's taking shots there.
I agree.
And okay, as much as you guys know how your
Yeah.
board is, we face the same consequences, or we
So
also go
Brian, Vishesh, let's Mihir Vishesh, let's just put a pause in your
No,
debate.
I want
Brian, let's get you.
I just want to say one thing. Then it's all to Brian.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
I feel like Brian wants to say Oli, so he's just like कुछ बोलना ही नहीं है.
When the season started, we had a very similar discussion, and my full thought process was Manchester United and Arsenal are in the same boat. It's no difference. We both hate our owners with the way they're treating the club. We both have managers who know the DNA, and we both are getting players, and maybe we don't like a few of them, but we're getting few decent players into the side. You guys got Partey, great signing. We guys got Cavani. At that point, it was like, will this be the next Falcao or what? But my point is, when we look at Arteta, I think, and all the situations. Let's say the Ozil situation. I don't want to get into the depths of it, but that could have easily been the Pogba situation after the Raiola comment as well. Woodward could have gone out and said that don't do this.
No, Vishesh, I'm going to pause you here. That couldn't have been the different
No,
connotations.
no.
Let's not get into that. Brian, what do
Just
you
one
think?
Yeah.
closing line on
No,
that.
no, Mihir, one sec. I'll pause
Just
here.
one
Now,
closing
no,
line.
no, no,
See,
no, no, Mihir, I'm not going to allow
Yes,
it.
see,
Let
see, see,
Brian
see,
come
Arteta
see.
in.
has not played
Mihir,
with
wait, Mihir.
Pogba,
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's not the
Arteta
same,
has
Mihir.
played
It's
with
not the
Ozil.
same. Yeah, 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 it's not
Mihir,
the
it's
same
So
fine.
situation.
See, I'll tell you all one thing. I, I would say one thing you'll need to take into consideration that the player we bought this season to make a change was Partey, and he has been out of the season, out for most of the season. He's now coming back to fitness. So you need to look at the fact that we are now putting our team. I think so. It's like quite young in the sense we are forcing more youth. Like now we are going to talk about different dynamics of a thing. Like so be it. See, I'll tell you one thing about Manchester United is the raw talent that you all have is a next level freaky high good amount. It is God like where how like it's a good team. I'm just being honest. Any manager with your team can do greatness. Like literally, you need someone to like coach the players perfectly. They have the talent. It's game over. Win the season. I mean, to be fair, maybe one defender more, I would say, or maybe a better replace somewhere or the other. Like I think the Tellers would have made more, like maybe getting him or making your midfield a bit more rounded. Like small tweaks that a manager needs, and your team can actually win the league. Now I'm gonna tell you something. We are literally playing with most of our squad that was from last season. And our last season was abysmal. Let me just put it out there. The only glorifying thing about that season was simply that we won an FA Cup because of our manager knowing how to handle City and how to manage Chelsea at the end and win it with a team which is, let's put it out there, like our team strength is not one of the best in the league.
But
Like,
Brian, just to make an argument, just to come in here, if I was an Arsenal fan, has this season also not been abysmal apart from the last 6 games?
so I'll tell you something. So the abysmal part comes from a fact of it is a full mismanagement and injury that all happens. There were many situations which had to be handled, and we couldn't start. There were things which were behind, like managers' control. Club had a stance. We had to follow the stance. And let's just put it out there: our players were not giving their best. Like our performances, you could see like there were one, two players giving it their all, but nothing is coming out from it because we had El Neni and we were happy that we had El Neni playing. I'll tell you something
But
about
Brian, also
I'll tell
let
you.
me come in here. Arteta was one who wanted to play El Neni above Ceballos or above anyone else.
So that's the thing. We came to such a point because Ceballos had an injury in the middle that we started playing with El Neni. So your game against, I'll tell you something, against Manchester United, the midfield was El Neni and Partey. And El Neni had more passes around. So we all knew that Partey is our Lord and Savior for the season. When your Lord and Savior is gone and you have someone like Gabriel is the only new signing, it is a good change. Let me just put it out there. It is a good player. He's a really good player. But I would tell you one thing is that managing a team like ours and now building up the form and against like starting up the cycle again and knowing your priorities and the way we are playing and it's getting better. I enjoy watching Arsenal again. I would tell about I don't have anything against Ole. There's nothing wrong for me to say because that guy, what he's doing, fantastic job. But I would say he has players with the talent that can carry the team. In our team, the players who had to carry are not playing their best at all. And
Brian, let me tell you this. I agree with you here, but I will just make this argument that the player that Oli inherited in Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, Scott McTominay, Fred, Luke Shaw, these guys you are saying are talented. I think that is the effect Oli has had on them in bringing them to this level. Because there were talks of selling Fred, there were talks of selling Luke Shaw. Marcus Rashford wasn't playing as well as he is playing right now. Mason Greenwood under Jose Mourinho, let's be honest, he wouldn't have got a shout in the team at all. He wouldn't have been featuring in this squad. So I think Oli, these players I feel are doing well, and maybe we'll be saying the same thing about Arteta from in about 6 or 7 months' time that Saka, Emil Smith Rowe, these guys are so talented that Arteta doesn't need to do much and he can just put the team out there and do well. I think Oli groomed these guys from a season and a half, and this is the result we're benefiting from that because Martial winning player of the year season at Manchester United is not something we had imagined will ever happen. And you can already see it. He's already fallen off a cliff. So I think Oli played a big part there in grooming these players and developing them to where you can actually go out and say that, oh, these guys are so good, you don't need to coach them anymore. You just, they aren't being coached well enough. So that's where I think that man management aspect comes in, where he's actually improved the likes of Luke Shaw, Pogba, who were thought is far gone at Manchester United.
See, that is under your own eye when your team, you all had issues. I'll tell you something. I was watching your Everton game, the game which you all won. I watched that game and I was just watching the system and I was like, okay, how is he? Because I remember it was Fred and McTominay as your CDMs. And I remember what he did was simply have a square of four. The tactic was square of four as your rigid thing and crosses from the side. I was like, okay, like I get it because he knows as a matter of fact he has to take care of the defensive side. Like Ole's only problem is defensive. He has an issue, and what he does is get the mid block and make sure it's just there. What Arteta has at Arsenal is a full confusion of talent and confusion of experience and everything. So it's not like a thing like our defensive structure is the best in the world. Let me just put it out there. Last season we used to play a five at the back, calling it a three at the back, and I was like, fine, whatever it is, we're getting wins. But that was, you literally see our manager had to play five at the back so that we be defensively structured. And now, because Partey is coming on, now we can actually see like what he plans to do. So till now, in my eyes, I remember the first when he came into the league, he had a certain playing format. He couldn't play that way either. He had to switch to a three at the back to comfort the other players and add everybody, get like Aubameyang playing as a winger slash striker so that we comfort him and many other situations. So I would say if you're asking right now, if you want to give it, I have no answer to this debate simply because I currently in my eyes, Arteta has like a lot of oof going on in his side of things, and so does Ole. But Ole has more talent, and that's why you see like Manchester United where they are. Like, if you want to ask me who's the better manager,
in some playing now. So United was at number on a scale of 0 to 10. United were in terms of talent at 4. Ole has taken you to 7. Whereas we
whoa. They were not at 4. I'm just going to put it out there. They were at a good 6.
I'm just giving you the example.
Example, okay. I thought
he's taken you
had a 4
to 7. That's improvement of 3. We were at 2. Now we are at 6. That's an improvement of 4. We're still below United, but what Arteta has done with that 2 is what we are trying to tell. Like, he doesn't have the squad.
I will give you that. I will give you that argument that he had. I think unquestionably Arteta has improved the defense incredibly, but also Aubameyang's just gone completely missing.
No,
he's absolutely disappeared.
Let me. My thought process.
I'm sure you must have heard.
He's off with personal reasons and all of. I understand that, but
it's not something that was started now. This was a series of events, which, of course, there are a lot of things which go behind the scenes, which the fans don't know.
Yeah.
We judge, we comment, etc., etc. But there's more shit to be handled by the manager than just the fans. So I guess that is one of the key reasons that Oba has not been himself lately. But in spite of that, last season he was the one who was carrying the team, and to not have him informed completely of the books or still manage to get the team here, and the run of losses that we had, every time I feel that we're unlucky, and they cannot be more unluck than this. But then the next match, Arsenal is again like, hold my beer. We can step ahead. The own goals that we conceded, the red cards, the VAR blunders, I mean, I wouldn't blame Arteta for that. But those are the factors which affected the team, and we were in that mess. Take out
Vishesh, Vishesh, I don't think, again, I think both managers have done quite well.
I actually have, like, after hearing everything and even after contemplating, I think Arteta and Ole are in a similar boat. The difference is Ole has had more time at United, and we're seeing the results of
exactly.
United.
That is one of the things.
and we're seeing the difference. We argued that under Mourinho he was not that great, got us to a certain position, then got us third in his first full season. Now in his second season, he's pushing in that so-called title challenge. So we're seeing the effects of Ole and his progress under the side. And I don't hope this, but I hope you guys hope this that Arteta does the same for Arsenal, because I would never like to see a
Better.
competition do well. But my simple statement is, if we need to look at it as Mahir said, the talent going from 4 to 7 or whatever number you want to put to it. I think if we look at it from a season wise, there was a point where we were saying, even though it was a joke, we were saying Arsenal may get relegated because that phase was there. Vis-a-vis this season at United, we've been consistent. We have to give that to Ole. I mean, Sheffield is probably an outlier, I hope. But
I
we've
was just going to say that, Vishesh, in closing, I was just going to say that I think Oli's sort of team is coming together, and only on that basis, I want to give it to him, because Arteta's team might come together or might not come together. The matter of the fact is that yes, he's got an FA Cup, but in the Premier League, he's yet in the in ninth position and was 3 points away from relegation at one point in this season, and
And we
not
can all
after.
agree one thing:
yeah.
we all are better than Chelsea.
Yeah. That's why I said it first. That's why I said it straight off the bat that Lampard is not in the discussion anymore. So I think only for longevity and like what Oli has been able to. So if we're having this discussion after a year, and maybe if Arteta's vision has been realized, I think we can give it to that. I think that is what y'all are saying. What I hear is that there are a lot of good things that might happen, but we know in football nothing is a given, and it might crumble once again. And from what I've seen this season, I think Oli has been far more consistent than Arteta. We've had our issues as well. We talk about player management to turn around Maguire, what happened in Greece, what happened against Spurs, what happened with that England red card within 35 minutes, to the way he's playing today. I think Oli deserves a lot of credit, and I think, like Brian said, we both can agree that Arteta and Oli apparently have no idea of what they're doing, and Lampard was this tactical genius who's been sacked. So. I mean, I personally think that Oli and Arteta are far better than Lampard, of course. And I would just give it to Oli because his vision has been realized. I think
See,
you can see
I'll
what
tell you
United are
something.
doing.
I think so. If we have to talk about them both, we have to take into like many factors into consideration. But if you're going to tell right now who's like the manager, I think so from the outside world, who's going to say the better manager is obviously going to be Ole, simply because you're a second. Like, and in my eyes, I don't like till now. I cannot say anything about Ole. Is like he's a good manager in my eyes. He knows how. One thing about Ole, which I have seen, which I'll be honest about, is he knows how to handle the ship, and he'll never put the blame. Like I've never seen him like put the blame or like shoot on the players,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
he'll try to come. He's a good manager in that sense. Like against the media, he knows how to handle his stuff. So
yeah.
does I mean Arteta has many flaws, but that is fine. That is his own situation. But at the end of the day, if I had to tell a manager, I would actually tell for now Ole, simply because he like their team knows what is going on.
Right.
We don't know what is
So
going on.
so let's stop this here before you change
I
your
just
mind
like
again.
to
Mihir,
pick
no,
out
Mihir, it's
point. Just
no, Mihir, we physically
if we talk
can't
about
let.
okay, no, okay, just one point. There was a point that both the clubs hate their owners. I just like to clarify that even though the owners don't show it, our owners, but they have been, very supportive of Arteta. And one of the reasons that we could sign Thomas Partey
What's
was
that?
because our owners felt, okay, this guy is needed for the team.
Mahir, I'll just tell you, I my
No,
my
no, Vishesh,
my full
no, no,
love.
no. That's
No,
it.
no, no,
Time out.
that's fine. My full perspective comes whenever you all lose from AFTV. So AFTV says they hate
Why,
the owners. So I'm
I'm
why,
none of
why
us. So
do who,
here's the thing. I'll
why
tell you
do
something.
those
Our
guys think
group,
that
none
they
of
are the
us
faces
watched
of
them.
the club?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so let's just agree on one thing as well, that we both are diminished since Arsene Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson. None of these guys are living up to that reality, unfortunately. But thanks,
But it
guys.
would
I
be
think this
fun,
is
wouldn't it, Prasham? Imagine the next rivalry for the next 28 years will be Ole Arteta. That sounds like a good one.
it's not gonna
That
happen.
I
would be
hope
so. It would begin like from the
These
social media
managers don't
wars,
these managers don't
from
have
like
the character to live up to the Wenger and Ferguson rivalry.
of
But
course not, of course
but
not. But I still feel Arteta and Ole could be a good rivalry only if Ole stays, or rather, you guys let him stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
So I think
I'll ask you
no, no,
on
no. I
something
think
about Ole.
that's
Okay,
a
that we can do it
completely
afterwards. That talk we
yeah.
can have
We'll
afterwards.
do a
That's fine.
completely different debate on that. But thanks, guys, for coming on. I think it was a
Prashant,
great conversation. It's a great
Prashant, just
discussion
before
we've
we end
had.
it, I just heard
No,
Lingard is
Vishesh,
from
we're
West
ending it.
Ham.
We're
So you
ending
guys
it. We're
don't need
not
to
talking
worry about
about it.
Lingard dancing at Emirates tomorrow.
And neither do you all need Aubameyang. Oh wait, he can actually dance at Old Trafford.
I doubt he's going to play.
But Lingard is now the best player in London. We need to give that.
Oh, for crying out loud. He could be better than
So,
Havertz,
guys,
you never know.
I am going to try to end this for the fourth time. Thanks, guys, for coming on. If you all do support Arsenal and if you're around Mumbai, do check out Arsenal Mumbai, connect with them, and do reach out to them. Subscribe to our channel, like our video, and we will see who wins, whether Oli comes out on top or Arteta. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all soon. Bye bye.